right. Welcome to your practice. Welcome to this body today. And please make sure that you have at least one block with you, maybe a blanket or a cushion that could give you maybe an inch of lift at a certain point. I'm Jill Knouse, and I just welcome you to your experience. I'm gonna have you start in a seated position. I'm sitting on a block, and you can sit cross-legged or seated on the shin bone, see what feels best. And just get yourself settled. You can rest the hands in on the thighs, or Buddha Mudra. You can create this left palm holding right palm, and then the thumbs come to touch each other. Find something that's comfortable for you. Perhaps close the eyes or just set your gaze on one particular thing. And just arriving, moving from everything that swirls around you to more of a sensational experience. So what is in the body? What are you feeling? What might tether you to right now? The breath, perhaps. Just your own natural breath cycles for a moment. So whatever feels right to you right now. And then you might consider engaging in just a little bit more breath control, where you breathe in for a count of 4. You hold for a count of 7, and you exhale slowly to the count of 8. And so adjusting those numbers as you need to, but I'm just finding some regulation of your own breathing. Inhaling to 4. Pausing, see if you can hold to around 7. And then exhaling to the count of 8. Just repeating that. Inhaling for 4. Holding for 7. Exhaling for 8. Maybe there's a couple to 3 more of those. Scanning the body, noticing what you feel. And then eventually, we're going to come off onto the back, taking a block with us, and move into a supported bridge. So using the block to hold up the sacrum. So coming onto the back, bent knees. Pick up your hips and then place the block on its lowest tier, right under the sacrum. And then you can settle the body back. Take a few breaths before doing anything, just kind of getting to this position. And then you might explore sensation, trying to find where it's hiding. So you could straighten one leg out, explore the top of the thigh, the hip crease, switch legs. There really isn't any right or wrong. You're just exploring, how does it feel to be here? Maybe Baddha Konasana with the legs, soles of the feet together, knees wide, but notice if this causes any discomfort to your lower back. Could be constructive rest, still with the sacrum held, instead of having the feet together and the knees wide, taking the feet wide and letting the knees fall together. Again, just listening to what you feel in the lumbar spine, those small lower back area, or into the sacrum, the sacroiliac. On any of the explorations that you've taken, eventually just coming back to supported bridge. And then you're going to pick up your hips, pull the block out of the way. You can keep it in your hand and just lower the hips back down. And then take the block and place it under your right foot, where it was. So where you were set up for bridge, and you had 2 feet on the ground about hips width apart, and have the block in its lengthwise position just to hold the sole of your foot, if you can, its entirety. And then hug your left knee into your chest. So you've got your right foot on the block is a conduit between your foot and the ground. You got your left knee hugged in. Keep your left knee hugged in, and then just release your arms by your sides. So you've still got the essence of hugging in, but you're not holding anymore. And then with your arms down, finding a little bit of leverage, push off into the right foot and lift your hips up. That left knee is hugged in and your hips are rising up. And you can keep the left knee hugged in, or you might see how it feels to straighten the left leg out, up, and over your head. And then lift your hips again. So you can always rebend the knee if you've tried that and it doesn't feel right. And then we're going to kind of stay at the top of the range there and move up and down a little bit. So just lifting and lowering the hips. And maybe you can do 10 to 15 of those. Up and down. We'll end on the high, so you've got the hips lifting and the leg extended, or the knee was bent, and now you can try to straighten it out. Then we're going to bring the left upper leg bone in line with the right leg bone. So it moves down at a diagonal to become more parallel with your right leg. Then lift your hips again and hold for 5. Lift the hips, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to lower down. If you need to hug your knee in or however that feels best, come back to sacrum on the ground, and then happy baby. So you can capture the outer edges of the feet. Let the knees move wide so your kind of upper legs are outside of your rib cage to a degree. Nice groin stretch, and the belly is pulling down into the low back. Keep a hold of the right foot, straighten your left leg long. So now you're in half happy baby. And then use your left hand to pull the right knee across the body into a supine twist. Left leg is long, right knee is bent, pulling the right knee off to the side. And you can either reach your right arm to the right or over the head, or something that feels good as a maybe counterbalance. Come back towards center. The block is probably where you left it, where it was under the right foot. So scoot it over to be under the left foot. You can kind of set it up so you have a sense of where would my feet be in a typical bridge. So your left foot has the block holding it. And then hug your right knee in and keep it hugged in. Just kind of keep that feeling of drawing the upper right leg into your right side abdomen. And then you can keep that sensation as you bring the arms down so they help to lever you up. Push off through the left foot, lift your hips up. And then you can explore straightening the right leg if you want it straight up over the head, or if you want the knee bent. Just notice the weight that you have, lift the hips up, and then at the top of the range there, lift and lower 10 to 15 or so times. Staying on the high on the last one. And lifting a little higher, and then that right leg is just going to lower so the upper right leg is parallel to the upper left leg. So now you're reaching out at a diagonal with the hips. Take a full inhale. Slowly we'll lower it down. You can hug the right knee in, and then happy baby again. And so capture the outer edges of the feet. And then let your right leg go long. So you're just in half happy baby. And then a supine twist. So right hand pulls the left knee across the body. And we're just awakening into the corners of our bodies, maybe the corners of our souls where we perhaps hide out a little bit. If you think about the current that is underneath every aspect of who you are. And just, even if it's just for this practice, looking to bring it to the surface a little bit, the thread of who you are, the constant, purest version of yourself, underneath all the dramas of life and what it throws at us and relationships. Coming back to center, this time hug the knees into the chest, and we'll rock up, cross the ankles, and make our way to downward facing dog. So how it works best for you to come up, to transition, move things out of the way, blocks, anything you have there, move it out of the way. Downward facing dog. So there isn't anything about you that needs fixing, about us that needs fixing. I include myself in that. We are not broken. Sometimes we just forget. We forget the true essence. We forget that we are not our bodies, that there is a constancy of our souls. We're not our minds. We're not these constructs, social constructs, or identities that we deem ourselves to be. We're not our names. Just in downward dog. We're not our job titles. We're not our relationships. They don't make us who we are. But we forget. Step your right foot forward in between your hands. And so kind of come up onto the left ball mound, hug that right knee in, shift the shoulders over the wrists, and step the right foot forward. Take a nice big breath in to that lunge, and then left foot forward, forward, fold. And just hang your head, pedal it out. And then go all the way to standing. Take a full breath in. And as you exhale, hands in front of the heart. And just polishing from the inside out. Now arms up, fill up. And in this process of remembering, forward fold, exhale. Who I am underneath all the rigmarole. Right foot back, breathe in. And then left foot back, downward dog as you breathe out. And now pull yourself forward into plank. And like you're a little caterpillar, we're gonna go knees, chest, and chin. Knees, chest, and chin. Lower down, and then flatten it out, so more like a staff. And Bhujangasana Cobra. So root through your feet, lift your chest up and forward, knees down. And then exhale, release, Danda Pranam. So full prostration takes the arms forward, and maybe your palms come to touch, and you just rest the forehead down. A few breaths there. Just letting yourself meet with the earth. And then slide your hands back under your shoulders, tuck your toes under. You could do this with knees down or knees up. Top of a push-up plank. And then downward dog. I'm here. I'm here now. I am. And all the things that come at me, they don't have to ruffle my feathers. They don't have to stir up the waters. They don't have to create a whirlpool.
Step your left foot forward, so curl it in, look forward, shoulders over wrists, step, nice big step. Take a full inhale. And then exhale, feet together, forward fold up at the top of the mat. And then rise all the way to standing, arms up. Hands Anjali Mudra right in front of your heart. And then start again. Inhale your arms all the way up. Pour forward into a fold as you exhale. And then step your left foot back this time. Left foot back, breathe in. Right foot back, down dog, breathe out. And we're going all the way forward to plank. So inhale, forward. And then knees, and then chest and chin. So a little inchworm. Your tail's lifted. Your chin comes down, your elbows are in. And then inhale to flatten it out. Roll the shoulders down and back. Neutralize the neck. Come up Bhujangasana, just a low cobra. Exhale, release. Danda Pranam, full prostration. Relax. And then slide the hands underneath the shoulders. Push up to a plank. And then down dog. And then let's just do that again. Right foot forward, breathe in. Left foot forward, breathe out. Stretch your breath out. Inhale, rise all the way up. Urdhva Hastasana, upward salute. And hands to the heart as you exhale, Anjali Mudra. And then rise the arms, fill your lungs. Exhale, fold forward. Right foot back, big breath in. Left foot back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then pull forward plank. Knees, chest, chin. Inhale, pull through Bhujangasana. Free your feet. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, release. Arms forward, full prostration. Just be there so we're not having to move with the breath there. You're just still. And then hands under the shoulders, tuck the toes under, press to plank, and down dog. Then inhale your left foot forward, and then exhale your right foot forward. Stand all the way up as you breathe in. Meet the hands in front of the heart as you breathe out. Then arms go again, fill up. And fold forward, exhale. Left foot back, breathe in. Right foot back, down dog, breathe out. Forward to plank, inhale. Knees, chest, chin, exhale. And then cobra. And release, full prostration. So let it go. This meeting with the earth. Reverence to every place you've ever been, right? This earth we walk on. Hands under shoulders. You can tuck the toes or knees can stay down. However you get back to your high plank, breathe in. And down dog, breathe out. And then right foot forward, inhale, listen. As you exhale, keeping the left hand down, take your right arm to the sky and just find this simple twist. There's an energy of your right hip drawing back, so this right femur bone kind of hugging back into the joint. Pull the belly in. Right hip creases gently pulling back, and then your left ribs tucking under your right as you rotate and open. And maybe gaze all the way up towards your right thumb. When you feel ready for an inhale, we're turning to the left and coming all the way into a deep lunge, skandasana into your left knee. So when you're ready for an inhale, start to move with it and breathe all the way back towards the back edge of your mat. Pause there and just explore. So the depth to which you go is up to you. So deep lunge is relative, and it could even mean that you bring in a block to explore that inner right thigh and the hamstrings. So we'll take a nice big inhale, skandasana here. As you exhale, turn back towards the top of your mat. And just coming back to this lunge position with the hands down. And then we're going to play, so I'm kind of pulling my right foot back so I have plenty of room in front of me. Just visualize your left heel coming to your left sitting bone. And then bring some weight into your right foot and make that happen. Left heel, left sitting bone. And then kind of like a lever, we're going to try to extend the left leg forward and have a seat. So if it has to come wide outside the mat a little bit, or you have to move your hands and make way for it. And maybe you can get into such a little ball that you just thread it through, or maybe not. But eventually making your way to this place where you're seated, left leg is long, right knee is bent. And then give yourself some space so you don't have the ankle right to the thigh. There's a little bit of room. Your right heel might be more aligned with the outer right hip versus hugged all the way in. So move it over, give yourself a little space. And then you're kind of crawling inside the right thigh in order to fold forward. You might find that this is where sitting up on the blanket or a bolster will feel good. You want to find yourself kind of towards the edge of it, almost like your sitting bones are just falling off the edge, so that you create a little anterior tilt of your pelvis that's pouring forward, the pelvic bowl. And then you can kind of be inside of your right leg and just bow in. And then I'm trying to kind of find an energy of the right knee. This is not just flopping out. And there's a little bit of energy in towards the midline and awakening into my groin. And just kind of awareness. So if the intention was to open it, then you could let it fall, but just kind of noticing what you feel, maybe harnessing in towards center a little bit more. And then look at your left foot. We're going to come up a little bit with the torso and even put a bend into your left knee so that with your right hand, so identify your right hand, you can reach down and capture the outer knife edge of your left foot. So my hand has come in, the thumb turned down, the pinky turned up, and I'm just dropping it down to capture the knife edge of the foot. And then I'm going to pick up the foot and sit up nice and tall. Left hand behind you, reach it back, lift the upper sternum, and extend through your left leg. Open the heart. Nice big breath in. As you breathe out, you can set your left foot down next to the right, and then push off and even move your bolster out of the way. You're just in a little squat. Wrap your arms around your shins, curl in, and take a big breath into the back body. And release that in forward fold. And then chair pose or Utkatasana. So bend your knees, find the weight distributed across the soles of your feet. Inhale the arms up. And just pretend like you're going to come into a twist. Hands to the heart. You know, bring your left elbow over towards your right thigh. Maybe even tap it there. And then come back to center, hands at the heart. Inhale. And we'll go the other side. So right elbow, it just taps. And then center. Do that a few more times. So left and right. Just finding a little buoyancy in the knees, a little engagement through the obliques. I'm going to do one more to the right or to the left side, right elbow hooks, and then come back, Utkatasana. Inhale, exhale, forward fold. Right foot steps back, big breath in, and then left foot back down dog. And this time you can pull forward and go through chaturanga. So plank, inhale. Set the knees down if you wish, lower either halfway down or to the belly. Up dog or cobra, different variations of height in cobra, and then downward facing dog. And then step your left foot forward in between the hands. As you exhale, the right hand's going to stay down, and the left hand will go to the sky as best you can. Mine's not going today. frozen shoulder. Left hip gently pulling back, engaged through the belly. Right ribs are dropping under left ribs. Open the gaze to the sky. Empty the air out. When you're ready for an inhale, you're going to turn right and all the way over into Skandasana, the right knee bend. So again, the height or the depth, both yes and, are up to you and what feels good. So you could be much higher if you're feeling a little ginger, gentle. You want to be gentle. Trust what is showing up, always. Trust emotion that is showing up. Don't need to make excuses for how we're feeling. It's real. When you're ready to crawl back towards the top of the mat, crawl back towards the top. You're back in this lunge with the hands down and your right heel bone towards your right sitting bone. So you can pop up a little bit and then you're going to thread it through if possible. So find your means for threading that leg through and then have a seat. So now your left knee is bent, your right leg is long. Create some space from ankle to inner thigh. Start to allow yourself to come forward, and maybe you hook the thigh, and first it's a forward fold. Bolster under the sitting bones can help facilitate that tilt of the pelvis to be moving in the direction that we sort of want it to. And so we're not just in this weakened or stretched out, just all in the low back. So we're actually getting up and over. Different things that we want to accomplish would lead us to approach it differently, just like in our lives. Different things that we're trying to see come to fruition. The left inner thigh drawing towards, so adducting towards the midline, towards the shoulder. Just breathing. And then looking at your right foot, you can put some bend into the right knee. Your left hand is going to reach around to capture the knife edge. And then first just pick up the foot. You kind of get here. And then you can travel your right hand back behind you on the finger pads or something. And kind of notice if your right leg is crossing over the midline or in front of the pubic bone. Instead, just going to keep the plane from hip to knee to ankle in the same plane. Extend through the leg, lift the heart, and rotate right. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Nice big inhale. As you exhale, you can set the right foot down and then push off so you start to make your way into a little squat. Take a very big breath into the back body and fold forward as you exhale. Then bend your knees and sit back down into Utkatasana. So you have been here, you're back in your chair, arms up. And then let's make contact, left elbow, right thigh, and rotate. Gaze can go where it feels good. For me today, it's feeling nice and grounding to keep my gaze down, but you might be looking over the right shoulder, off to the right. And we'll come back to center and take a nice big breath in, and on the breath out, right elbow hooks left thigh. A little bit of that adduction towards center line, so you find stability, maybe. Again, your gaze can be where it feels good for you. Make sure you're breathing. Back to Utkatasana, hands at the heart, and then just pour forward into a fold. Left foot steps back as you breathe in. And then right foot back, you're in downward facing dog, breathe out. Pull forward, plank. You can lower halfway or to the belly. Feel free to use the knees down. Cobra, upward facing dog, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. And then take your right leg and reach it way up and back behind you. And then curl your knee in to tap your nose. Feel the back body expand, shoulders over wrists. Right leg up and back, and right foot forward in between the hands. Spin your back heel down and flat. And slowly rise up for warrior one. So as you come up, find your legs, right knee bent, left leg in a more straight position with the back heel drawing down. And then as you come in and you find the weight of your legs, can you lift away from those anchor points, pulling the belly in, getting tall in the torso, taking the arms over the head. So your left palm is facing the right edge of your mat. With your right hand, just hold on to the left wrist, the palm still facing off to the right, and just pull yourself up and over to a side stretch. You might soften the shoulder blades down, open the heart a little bit. Notice if you're kind of letting one side of your rib cage drop really far back, and you just sort of balance it out a little. Right hip, same thing with the hips. And then come back to center, take a breath in. I'm gonna face away from you for just a moment. Horse pose or goddess pose. So turn off to the left edge of your mat with your toes out and your heels in, drop down, and then just meet your hands in front of the heart. Sitting low, keeping the knees deeply bent, pop up onto your tippy toes. So you're just got the heels lifted, you're sitting low in this goddess horse pose. And then we're gonna stand up, keeping the toes lifted, or the heels lifted, excuse me, staying on your tiptoes. Rise up, arms over the head. And then as you exhale, just slide back down, hands meet in front of the heart. You still have your heels lifted. You're just gonna rise and fall like that. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Next time, we'll stay up, inhale, keep the heels lifted for a moment, pivot the heels out and the toes in, and then pour into Prasarita, Padottanasana, or wide-legged fold. Loosen the toe grip. And then take a little halfway lift, find some length, pivot towards the back of your mat. Find your left leg, okay, in terms of just really knowing like it's there, it's rooted, it's so strong. We did a lot of work in the beginning to kind of awaken through the glutes and just stabilize. And now we're gonna stand up, standing knee raise. So just kind of look forward and come up. Right knee is in front of you now. And then figure four, the right ankle is gonna settle to the left thigh and you'll slowly start to settle back. Your hands can be on your hips, at the heart center. You could start to bring your forearms to your right shin. Just checking it out. Maybe you're so open today that you're touching the earth, or coming down towards a toes pose, or whatever feels right. The next shape we'll make from here is either airplane pose or warrior three. So as you're in your figure four, you can either find the lifted heart variation where you have more of a back bend or more extension, or a little more linear where your upper body is in line with that floating right leg. So either warrior three, again a little more linear, or maybe this really expressive, more open heart. A little more upward dog, cobra qualities. From this place, take a breath in. As you exhale, we'll set it down, warrior two. So find warrior two at the back of the mat with the left knee bent. Float the arms up.
You might just kind of turn your palms to face up for a second. Oof, that's hard for me right now. The palms turn down, and then straighten the forward leg. We're preparing for triangles, so you can kind of tick-tock your hips, shorten the stance of your feet a little bit, do the things that support you in extended triangle. A block even, coming into the inner part of the foot or the outer part. More accessible on the inside, so you can just kind of right arm to the sky, to the hip, or over the head, and left ribs tucking under right. And then we're going to come all the way up. So when you're ready, I like to put a little bend in the forward knee. Rise up and then pivot to warrior two, now facing to the front of the mat. I'm going to get the block up towards the top because you might need it there. So if you want to toss yours up there, you can. Warrior two at the top of the mat. And then reverse, so left hand down and right arm reaches up and back. Big breath in, half moon is where we're going. Again, that block up at the top might be useful. Half moon balancing just on the right leg, stacking the whole left side body on top of the right. A little bend into that right knee. Float your left leg up, and then start to really tuck right side body under left side body. And just be there. Hand on the hip, hand to the sky. Ardha Chandrasana is going to become seated twist. So just take your time. Think about it before you go there. Look towards the earth. Maybe touch your left hand down, and the left knee is tucking in and behind the right ankle. So we can come all the way down for Ardha Matsyendrasana, twisting to the right. So once I get my right sitting bone grounded, right hand behind, left arm up, and then you can hook and rotate. Soften the shoulders down, lift the base of the skull, lift the upper sternum. Incremental rotation, just noticing where all of the twist lives, or if it could be spread out more evenly up the spine. Is it all in one spot? Or could you invite a sense of evenness, just to the degree that you can recognize? One more breath in. Turn back towards the top of your mat. We'll take standing splits. The right leg is the base. So kind of establish yourself. You push off a little bit and let your left leg float up into the air. Just this full reaching towards Hanuman. Big breath in, and then as you breathe out, left foot comes down to meet the right. Bend both knees, sit back for Utkatasana. Arms up, and you've been here before. Find your legs, find your belly, find the curves of your spine, supported by the engagement, just a little bit of magnetism between front body and back body. Inhale, hands to the heart, hook the left elbow to the right thigh. I'm going to keep my gaze down again and just start to add on a little bit. So your right foot is going to be like it's wearing a high heel. Find the tiptoes of the right foot, just lifting the right heel. Kind of like you had the sensation from Goddess, just the right side. And then bring your right hand onto your sacrum. Slide your left hand down to capture the outer edge of your right foot. Really establish through your left leg. This is a very strong leg. When you stand up, you're going to hug the right knee into the chest, holding onto the outer edge of the foot. Push off and come up. And then just kind of stabilize for a second and see if you can straighten your right leg out. Doesn't have to by any means lock out. And explore, and then rotate hard to the right, maybe right arm reaches. Breathe.
5, lift the heart, lift the upper sternum. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come back to center. Slow release of the right foot down. Feet about hips width apart. Arms down by your sides with the palms turned forward. So Tadasana. Nothing to do but be, right? Now arms over the head. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift. Step your left foot back. And come into half pigeon on the right side. So toe heel your right foot over towards the left edge of the mat. Settle yourself down. If you like a block under the right hip, can feel supportive. If you like a block under the head, that can feel supportive. But we'll just let it go from exertion to rest. So the ebb and flow, the expansion and the contraction, the receding and advancing, push-pull. We find a sense of center as the world moves around us. I am relaxed. I am centered. I'm peaceful. Take a few more breaths. And then bring your hands to the mat. Tuck your left toes under. Reach your right leg up and back. Bend the knee and fold open. 3-legged down dog. Right leg, you might circle the knee around, you might flip your dog. Take the right leg up and back, and then release it to down dog. And then anything, maybe you want a few breaths just to be here in down dog. Maybe you want child's pose. Maybe you want chaturanga dandasana to reset. And then take your left leg up and back. So we'll eventually make back and down dog, and we'll take the left leg up and back, and then we'll curl in and really feel the back body as you move the shoulders over the wrists. Left leg up and back. Left foot forward. Step it through, and back heel spins down as the arms come up, warrior 1. So find your legs again, find the belly again. So like a zippering up, so you get a little bit lighter. You're anchored, but then can you feel yourself growing up taller? Arms up. Notice kind of the positioning of the hips and the shoulders. You're kind of keeping that essence as you wrap your left hand around the right wrist and then pull up and over to the left side. Breathing into, kind of noticing the rotation, breathing into the right side body, breathing into the front of that right hip. Come back to center as you inhale, reach up, and as you exhale, turn to the right. Sit low, horse pose, and we'll meet the hands in front of the heart. And this time you might take Kali Mudra, the interlacing of all 10 fingers, release the index fingers. You can use that to kind of pull us up. So pick up your heels. Feel the ball mounts, keep the heels lifted, stand all the way up, inhale. Exhale, sit low again. Keep the heels lifted if you can. Inhale, come up. Keep the heels lifted, sit low. Inhale, come up. Last time to sit low, then we go up again. Inhale, keep it up, and then heels out, toes in, and wide fold. And a little bit of a halfway lift. Turn towards the back of your mat. You're gonna really establish the roots through the right leg. Standing knee raise with the left knee forward. So find yourself, find your center, push off, and come up, left knee forward. Arms can be over the head. Just here momentarily, take a breath in to get all the length, and then figure four shape. Maybe hands on heart, hands on hips, forearms come down to the shin. You can start to play with what's true on this side. Touch the earth, come into toes pose, whatever you want to explore, just to get into this outer hip and play with the balance. We have options of airplane or warrior three, so you can decide where you're going. Maybe this side you're doing something different. Open heart, Degasana, Virabhadrasana, C. Nice big breath in. Warrior two is that breath out. So give yourself the room again. Notice where you land, and is that sufficient for you? Arms up. And the forward leg is going to straighten. I'm tiptoeing my left foot in a little. I play with a little movement of the hips. This back leg is pretty neutral, so I'm not cranking it into like trying to be externally rotated. My left toes are turned in order to give me some space, sacrum and in the front of the hip. So it's not pinching. And then come down. Either over the head, straight up towards the sky, or you can even find a partial bind if that feels good. When you come out, use an inhale, rise. Right toes turn in, left toes turn out in warrior two. Now facing the fronts. And then reverse warrior. Tip back, breathe back. Soften your toe grip. I say that because I'm noticing I'm gripping the mat desperately. Full inhale, half moon. Find a little space, find your block if you would like. Left leg, standing leg, and we come down. I like the right hand on my hip, especially right now with my shoulders kind of still acting up. And I can feel also what's going on with the pelvis. Notice the impact I can have by sort of levering a little bit. I'm kind of lifting the hip point. Take a breath in. Not too much on the lever. As you breathe out, we're sitting down into a seated twist. So my right knee is going to tuck in behind my left ankle. Come on down. And then we'll twist over to the left side. So right hand back, right arm reaches first, and hook or hug and rotate. Heavy in the right sitting bone. Anchor that and then lift up. And can you still the waters? Watch the ripples. Find that undercurrent. That true sense of self. Truest version of yourself. Tell the stories. Adequacies, inadequacies, all of the things that we attach to. Or hide from. So now we're going to turn back towards the front, let the left leg be the base so we can move into standing split. Right leg all the way up. Standing Hanuman. And then feet together, fold forward. All right, Utkatasana. So common to call it chair. It looks like a chair. Thunderbolt. Settle back, take some breaths, find the buoyancy. I'm gonna give myself a little room because I'm in a tiny space. Take a breath in and then hands to the heart, hug the right elbow to the left thigh. Rotate. Keeping the gaze down, just come onto the ball mound of your left foot. And then left hand to sacrum, the right hand can travel down to the outer part of your left foot. Find the strength of your right leg and see if you can push off and stand up. Everything around center moving, but center still. And then maybe you open out, left leg reaches, upper sternum lifts. Hand can stay at the sacrum or reach back behind you. 5, keep breathing. 3, and 1. You can release, set the left foot down. Find your stability through both feet rooting in. Palms turn forward, just a nice lift from the upper sternum. When you feel ready, take your arms over your head. Exhale, fold in. Halfway lift, a nice long inhale, and then step your right foot back and prepare for half pigeon. Toe heel your left foot off to the right side. Settle back. Any props that you would like. Under the head, under the hip. Relax. Center. And calm. The focus is on the undercurrent. So not reacting to the fluctuations. The mind might grab you and try to take you on a little adventure. You just come back and look deeper. It's not there at the surface. It's deeper. And then hands underneath, you're moving any blocks out of the way or anything out of the way, coming into a 3-legged down dog and then a scorpion. Anything you did on the other side, you can invite that in, a little freedom through movement and what's here. Take the leg long and the down dog, eventually meeting a down dog. And then just being there. If you want to reset through chaturanga, you can do that. And then we'll come to hands and knees and just sit in Vajrasana. Seated on your shin bones. You can feel free to set a block under the sitting bones. Rest the hands in the lap in Dhyana Mudra. Left palm turned up, right palm held in that, and then the thumb pads together. Sometimes called Buddha Mudra, and bringing or inviting in ultimate balance, but also just this energy of awakening, of lifting maybe veils or layers of ourselves off so we can actually see what's underneath, the polishing. And then we'll set up for camel, so you can move the block, separate your knees to maybe about hips width, bring the hands onto the hips and roll the shoulders down the back. Elbows kind of wing in towards each other behind you. And just that same energy of really being lifted by the breastbone, and also the idea that rather than just like I was mentioning in the rotation of our spines, the spiral staircase, and just trying to spread that twist out. We do the same thing with the back bend. Instead of just dropping into the one most physically logical place, we instead get as much lift as we can so we don't just hinge into any particular part, very likely into the lower back. With the hands on my hips, you can gently lift the upper sternum, expand the whole front body, push down through the knees and shins, and gently push your hips and thighs forward. The incremental lift coming up and out of the low back, open the chest. And next inhale, rise up. And as you exhale, you can sit back down in Vajrasana. Maybe on your block again. Left hand cradles the right hand, palms are turned up with the thumb pads touching. And just soften the shoulders, let the elbows get heavy. Ease your jaw, your tongue, the facial expression, the eyes are soft. Just breathing. Maybe it's 4, 7, 8. Inhale 4, hold 7, exhale 8. Maybe you're just following these really even breaths, creating that sense of sameness, the fluctuations, settling into the balance. And then we'll release ourselves off of any blocks or anything and make our way to the back body. Come down, just rest for a moment onto the back body. Constructive rest, or maybe it's constructive rest with the block under the sacrum. Could be revisiting an essence of where we started. Always like the way that feels to come full circle in these expressions. And if you have the block underneath, you might straighten one leg out and hug one knee in. Could be on the lowest tier, the middle tier, or even double up your blocks. If you have two. If you had two, you were putting them on the lowest level stacked. And then if you are hugging a knee in and straightening a leg out, you could switch. Big breaths. Like a whirlpool, these everything moving around the center. Releasing back to a supported bridge and then moving the block out of the way. And if you would like any other supports for your Shavasana, you can find them. If you need any other movements, maybe a momentary leg up the wall or a little twist, or just hugging the knees and kind of rocking to free the sacrum or give it a little massage, low back. And then you can tuck yourself into your final resting posture. Final Shavasana. Letting the body release into the mat. Letting the breath polish from the inside out. There isn't anything to bring in, there isn't anything to fix that's broken.
There's just a recognizing what's here and has always been here and will always be here. And we get focused on the body, the physical manifestation of us, and we get focused on the mind, all that we believe, and we forget what is underneath all of that. I'm going to read a poem, one of my very favorites, by David White. And it is about gratitude and thankfulness, but really from the perspective of awakening, paying attention, and how when we pay close attention, we turn the light on to the beauty that surrounds us. So just settle back. It's a little bit of a long poem, but I do hope that you enjoy it. Gratitude is not a passive response to something given to us. Gratitude is being awake in the presence of everything that lives within and without us. Gratitude is not something that is shown after the event. It is the deep a priori state of attention that shows we understand and are equal to the gifted nature of life. Gratitude is the understanding that millions of things come together and live together and mesh together and breathe together in order for us to take even one more breath of air. That the underlying gift of life and incarnation as a living, participating human is a privilege. That we are part of something rather than nothing. Even if that something is temporarily pain or despair. We inhabit a living world with real faces, real voices, laughter, the color blue, the green of the fields, the freshness of a cold wind, or the tawny hue of a winter landscape. To see the full miraculous essentiality of the color blue is to be grateful with no necessity for a word of thanks. To see fully the beauty of a daughter's face is to be fully grateful without having to seek a God to thank him. To sit among friends and strangers, hearing many voices, strange opinions, to intuit inner lives beneath surface lives, to inhabit many worlds at once in this world, to be a someone amongst all other someones, and therefore to make a conversation without saying a word, is to deepen our sense of presence and therefore our natural sense of thankfulness that everything happens both with us and without us, that we are participants and witnesses all at once. Thankfulness finds its full measure in generosity of presence, both through participation and witness. We sit at the table as part of every other person's world while making our own world without will or effort. This is what is extraordinary and gifted. This is the essence of gratefulness, seeing to the heart of privilege. Thanksgiving happens when our essence of presence meets all other presences. Being unappreciative means we are simply not paying attention. Take a nice big breath in, fill your lungs all the way. Exhale, release that away, and do that a couple more times, inhaling fully. Exhaling fully. Inhaling fully. Exhaling fully. And then begin to kind of stir the body, blinking the eyes, letting the head roll gently side to side. You can curl your fingers into your hands and circle your wrists. Maybe circle your feet, ankles around. Stretch your arms over your head and kind of Stretch the arms away from the legs and get a nice big yawn for your body. We'll take one more breath in and then use the exhale just to roll off to one side. And then find a seated position. So kind of building yourself back to a seated position, maybe on a block. And then bring your hands in front of your heart and just kind of rub your hands together. And I'm just kind of bringing sensation back into that place. And then stillness again. Pressing right palm into left and left palm into right. And just remembering underneath it all, this purest, most real version of yourself. It is not affected by the things that roll our way, the dramas of every day. Living and loving and experiencing the highs and the lows. And when we can drop in and connect to that current, it softens the edges or the dramatic nature of the highs and lows. You might bring your thumbs just right up to that space in between your eyebrows and take a big inhale. And then as you exhale, bow in. Thank you so much for practicing.